My name is Cristian Leo Varelas. I am a qualified lawyer in Mexico and have successfully passed the QLTS exams in my first attempt. My background has always been focused on litigation and international arbitration. I understood that if I wanted to practice on this field, especially if I wanted to practice abroad, I needed to, first of all, study abroad. That's why I decided to take a master first in the USA and then in London, and then it became evident that I also needed to qualify in several jurisdictions if I wanted to make a career in this field. That's why I decided to take the QLTS tests. I understood early on that if I wanted to have a career abroad, I needed to qualify in certain jurisdictions that are known as international or that can complete my legal background in the fields that I like, in my case, international arbitration. I understood that after having a couple of interviews in London, that I needed to be qualified if I wanted to actually compete for a specific job. For starters, the route to qualification involved knowing the law in England and in the European Union. I understood that studying on my own would involve making a lot of assumptions, not only on the material, but also on the specificities of the exams. That's why I compared schools, I compared the guides that were provided, the material, the updates, the mock tests, and that's why after a serious consideration, I decided that QLTS was the school perfect for it. For the MCT exam, it was pretty straightforward. You have the materials and you have the mock tests. Essentially, you are on your own with the path that QLTS provided. They give you the materials and they give you constant updates, but from the first part, it's essentially up to you and your rhythm. That's why it's a combined effort. QLTS gives you all the material and they show you the path, but you actually need to want to follow it and study on a day-to-day basis. For me, it was in the OSCE part, the assistance of a special advisor, because you understand that from the practical point of view, you need not only to know the law, but you also need to have a particular set of skills that are needed to pass that part of the exam. It's not only about the law, but it's actually how you conduct yourself in an interview, what skills do you have, what information can you ask, and what not to ask. There were a couple of times that in my OSCE preparations, I did a mock trial with my advisor, and perhaps I did not know about the law, but that part was not about the law, was only about the facts. So the most important part for me was that my advisor actually told me, you need to focus on this specific part. Do not talk about the law, talk about the facts, take care of your body language, know what to ask, when to say it, and especially when to stop, because that can have an effect in your grade. For the MCT, I was living in London doing a master, so I had to combine lectures with a study for the MCT. I guess that roughly during the week, I spent 3 to 4 hours a day preparing for the MCT, and perhaps a little bit more during the weekends. I think I did it for about 6 to 8 months. For the OSCE part of the exam, it was a little bit more complicated because I was already working in Mexico. So I had to wake up early and take advantage of lunch times and sleep late, because you cannot take care of your mind out of business for studying. So it's actually more about how you combine both. But I guess I did that preparation for the OSCE for 2 or 3 hours daily during the week and 4 to 5 hours during the weekends for about 6 or 7 months. I feel very confident, but not in a pretentious way. The QLTS school prepares you in an excellent way. Essentially, what they provide you to is all the materials you actually need for the exams. So once you get to the exams for both parts, you feel confident, not because you know all the answers, but because they provide you with all the materials. For instance, there was a part in the MCT exam where, even though I didn't know the precise answer, I remember that I have learned from it in the material, that I have read it. So the QLTS gives you all the necessary information, and once you're in the exam, you are confident that you will not receive any surprises because everything you read is actually on the exam. I am an associate at Hogan Lovells Mexico. I am part of the litigation and international arbitration team. We handle commercial arbitration and investment arbitrations. We actually have some arbitrators right here in the law firm. We actually help also other law firms on cases they handle in foreign offices, even if they involve foreign law or Mexican law. The news about my passing grade are fairly recent, but I am expecting that this will help me to become more attractive to the legal market in the USA and in London. Especially one of the reasons I wanted to take this test is to be able to compete for a job abroad, either in the US or in London. Absolutely. You do not only need to have all the necessary materials, which a school like QLTS provides you, but you also need to have discipline and a constant desire to study and to pass these exams. This requires a lot of preparation and a lot of sacrifices, but you also need the assistance of a specific school that can provide you with all the necessary elements to pass these kind of exams. Answering the second question first, I guess it depends on how you learn. I know a lot of people who, through a thorough one read of a specific topic, they are ready to take an exam. I know some other people that need to make their own guides to be ready. In my case, for instance, I need to learn through repetition. So I have to read the material more than 3-4 times to be ready for a particular exam. I guess it depends on how you learn, as long as you're constant and you're disciplined. And you actually need to be able to read all the material at least once. That's a very important part of the exam. And answering the first question later, I think you will need to take about 6 to 8 months to prepare for a specific part of the exams. Perhaps a little bit less for the MCT, but a few months extra for the OSCE test. I will say 6 to 8 months for the second part. I think the QLTS is designed for practitioners to want to make a career abroad in the first case. On a second scenario, you also may need to take the QLTS to make yourself a complete lawyer and to provide a little extra to your law firm. I believe a modern lawyer cannot be local anymore. I believe that a lawyer needs to be able to resolve complex issues involving different areas of the law. Globalization has arrived, but it has arrived a little bit late to our profession. Now, however, you're not only competing with local lawyers, but you're also competing with foreign lawyers who not only know their own law, but they actually know yours. So you need to be able to stand on a legal ground with them and to be able to compete. And these kind of certifications, these kind of exams give you the tool to do that.